Well, hello there. I am Joshua Harrell, and thank you so much for joining us for this special presentation of Holland America's OnStage Alaska. I am your host, or one of your hosts, I should say, Joshua Harrell. I'm going to be with you the whole hour. I don't know anything about Alaska, so I'm the perfect person to be co-hosting this show. So I'm going to be speaking for all of you who don't know anything about Alaska, but I will also be manning the chat. So if you have any questions, please, if you're watching this live, please join us in the chat. But I have some real experts here who are going to share some phenomenal experience all about Holland America and their Alaska experiences. And we're not just talking on the water, because there's a whole lot more to Alaska than just glaciers and all that. Anyway, I'm giving stuff away, and I don't know anything about Alaska. I just gave it all away. So I am very, very pleased to introduce you to my guests, Vanessa and Roger. Welcome, Vanessa and Roger. Thank you so much for joining us for this live presentation.
Thank you, Joshua.
Well, we purposely left off your last names because there's a little bit of a story there.
There is. Well, my name is Vanessa Graves.
And my name is Roger Graves.
And our last names being the same is not a coincidence.
Just over a year ago, we were cruising near the Sea of Cortez on the Holland America ship, the Koningsdam, and we were engaged to be married.
Yep. Oh. Yes. And then soon after, we started making plans to head to Alaska.
Yeah. Vanessa was headed back to her job as a tour director for Holland America.
And Roger was able to live a lifelong dream, traveling to Alaska, and he also had the opportunity to live at the McKinley Chalet Resort and spend all summer long in Denali National Park and Preserve.
Wow.
Yeah.
We were originally planning to get married in Missouri, which is Vanessa's home state.
But as soon as we got to Alaska, we knew we wanted to be married in there.
So we made the necessary changes, and on September 4th, 2023, we were married on the Mountain Vista Trail of Denali National Park.
Hiking boots and all.
I love it!
Yeah, not only did we know that we wanted to be married in Alaska because we loved each other, but because
we love Alaska.
So we want to get started on our presentation and share with everyone why we love Alaska and why you might want to come to Alaska with Holland America Line. So we have a quick video we'd like to share with you.
There's something cleansing about being in nature, being in a place that is on such a massive scale. There's a reset button.
Alaska has a rich history. People came here from all over the world. That sense of adventure, not knowing really what they were going to find.
My favorite part is seeing it through the guest eyes, watching them just light up.
It gets you excited again. It makes you realize, oh, hey, this is why I'm doing this.
It's our modern day gold rush.
Being with Holland America Line creates this connection with my guest.
They really are experts in travel.
You feel like you're a part of Alaska. It's just a different feeling here than anywhere else.
It really
wow.
is that amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Something to really be experienced.
Yeah. Now, as a tour director, I ask all of my guests when they first get to Alaska is, have they been? So I'm wondering if the audience that is joining us today has been to Alaska, and we can ask them that question.
Yeah, drop it in the comments if you've been to Alaska. Let us know, and if you've been there multiple times, let us know how many times you've been.
Right.
But I do have to say that we did already get a comment in the chat from Velma. She had to say, love the wedding photo.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you,
That's
Velma,
fantastic.
for sharing that.
Yeah. And also we like to ask how many of you have cruised with Holland America before? So if there's anybody out there that has cruised with Holland America, not just to Alaska, but anywhere in the world, just let us know. We'd love to hear it.
Me
I
too.
have.
Yeah.
Thank you, mariners, for joining us and being with us today. And if you're wondering what a mariner is, Holland America Line calls their guests who cruise with us a mariner. And you can be part of that mariner society if you join us in Alaska on one of our cruises.
And Holland America has a long-standing tradition of travel. We've been sailing the seas for over 150 years, going to nearly 400 countries in 400 ports, 400 ports in over 100 countries and on all 7 continents.
Yeah. Holland America Line is known for their world-class dining, whether it's that casual affair or the fine dining establishments. We're going to bring that local flavor of the food straight to your table.
And we have perfectly sized ships. In particular for Alaska, they're sized just right to get up close and personal with the glaciers. They can get into many of the smaller ports that the mega ships just don't fit in.
But we're big enough for award-winning service. The crew on our ships truly make us feel like we're at home. But also we want to mention our best entertainment at sea. We have live performances and music and so much more when it comes to entertainment on our ships.
Then there's some frequently asked questions that we get, and kind of top of the list is, how big is Alaska? It's big. It's really big. In fact, it would cover nearly 1/5 of the lower 48 all put together.
That is amazing, because
Yeah.
you know when you look at a piece of paper map, you're just like, okay, that's just distorted, right?
Right.
That's just distortion. When I look at that map, I'm like, no way. There's no way.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep. And then as part of our cruise tours with Holland America, we add the Yukon Territory. And the red circle shows the area where you would go on the cruise ships and on the cruise tours.
Wow.
Another question we get quite frequently is, can I see Denali from the ship? And unfortunately, Joshua, that answer is no. You have to get into the interior of Alaska to see Denali the Great One.
Okay, so this is where some of my ignorance comes in. Is that Denali? Is that mountain?
That is Denali, Mount Denali, yes.
Now, I don't know why I thought it was just a region. I've heard it over and over again for many, many years. So that is beautiful and majestic for sure.
Yes.
It is.
And worth seeing.
In person.
Worth seeing. Got it.
Yep. Another question we get is, what should I wear? And a lot of times people think that it's cold up there all the time, and you don't really need to bring your parkas and your snowmobile suits. What we recommend is dressing in layers. And starting with a base layer where you might feel comfortable up into the high 70s, even into the 80s. Yeah.
I can model
Yeah.
if we want to. I can walk the runway a little bit.
Yeah.
Layers.
That's what your base layer would want to be. And then have some things that you can add. Remember to include something that'll protect you from the rain, and some good walking shoes, and maybe a backpack where you can change those layers throughout the day, because the temperature can change from evening to morning.
Yeah. Another question we get is, when is the best time of the year to visit Alaska?
Okay, so before you actually answer that question,
Okay.
We have a comment. You know, we asked, has anybody been to Alaska?
Oh, yes.
And I've got Jessie, who said she visited the 49th state on her 49th birthday.
Oh, that's great.
And
That's
loved it
awesome.
so much.
Yeah.
I love that she made that special occasion. She marked that special occasion with the 49th state. I think that's very cool.
fantastic.
Awesome.
Anyway, sorry. So when is the best time to go to Alaska?
It's whenever you have the most time.
Okay.
Yep. And our visitor season in Alaska is roughly between, especially the interior of Alaska, is roughly between May and September. And we're going to talk about those seasons next.
Okay.
We're going to start with spring. Spring is the time when the vegetation is starting to green up a little bit. The flowers are starting to bloom. It's usually around the end of the May, into the first couple weeks of June. And those flowers are blooming quick, one right after the other, so they can pack their growing into the short growing season that we have. Another thing that you will see during the spring is the babies. The moose calves are being born, or you might even get a chance to see some of the bear cubs that were born during the winter while they were hibernating. Yeah, great experience.
I love a good prop opportunity.
So my favorite time is the summertime. Blanketed, the pictured here is fireweed, which is blanketed all over Alaska and into the Yukon. So those pinks and purples next to the lush green. You still have snow on top of those mountain peaks. But what makes summer even more special is we have what we call the land of the midnight sun. That is 24 hours of daylight. And I'm not sure why it's not going.
Oh.
Anyway.
And
Oh, we're having a little technical difficulty. Producer Christopher. You know what? This is called Strive to be Live, and now we dance.
all right,
Let's see.
let's see if we made it.
Well, we'll keep going.
No, maybe not.
We'll just keep going. We're
So the next best time is to go.
The land of the midnight sun. Well, 24 hours of daylight is what we have there. And for those who like to golf, do you like to golf?
I do not like to golf. I know a lot of people that do.
Yeah.
And I am curious about 24 hours of sun.
Okay. Well, you can get a lot of excursions in,
Yeah.
packed into that time that you're up there. But if you wanted to golf, you can golf in Denali either at 8 p.m. or even at 10 p.m. in the evening.
Wow.
Yeah. And
That is
Vanessa,
amazing.
Yeah.
if you're gonna go golfing, don't forget your extra pair of socks,
Oh, why's that, Roger?
because you might get a hole in one. Oh, come on.
That's going to be a long show.
All right, then there's fall. We'll move on to fall.
We'll move on, yeah.
Spectacular colors there too, particularly the reds and golds. They come out as the days get shorter and cooler. And the other beautiful colors that you can see at this time are the northern lights. The northern lights are actually active all year long, but that whole midnight sun thing that we were talking about a minute ago gets in the way. It has to be dark in order to see the northern lights. So if you happen to be there during that time and want to get a wake-up call, just head up to the desk in any Holland America hotel, and they will give you a call when the northern lights are out.
Okay, so the midnight sun. So how much daylight? I said 24 hours of sun. It's not 24 hours of sun. So how much daylight are we talking about?
Well, June 21st is the solstice.
Okay.
And at that point in time, you pretty much, it's light out. You have we call it civil twilight. So in the evening hours, maybe from midnight to 3, it's still light out. It's not dark.
Right.
Yep.
And it kind of depends how far north you are.
Yep.
If you
Okay.
get north of the Arctic Circle, the sun is actually up
The whole time.
for 24 hours.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Isn't the world is an amazing place, but especially Alaska.
It really is. So Alaska Tourism Industry Association has done their research, and they have came up with 4 reasons why guests like yourself would like to come to Alaska. And these don't change year after year. And the top 4 here are listed. The wilderness. We have 12 highways in Alaska, and those are basically 2-lane roads. And when you're traveling down those highways, you're pretty much in the wilderness. And then the wildlife, who doesn't want to see a bear or a moose, a whale. And then glaciers, the crackling of the ice falling into the water, the calving of the glaciers. And Denali is always our number 1. Everyone wants to come and see that mountain, but not only just see the mountain, Denali, see Denali National Park and Preserve.
Okay.
Yeah. And a fun fact to know about Denali, Denali is so huge that it creates its own weather system. So if you are one of the lucky ones, when you come to Alaska, you can join the 30% club. And that's 30% of people who come to Alaska can see Denali from top to bottom.
Wow.
Yeah. Even though it's so big.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Holland America has listened to the Alaska tourism industry, and we are now number 1 in Alaska glaciers with more time in Glacier Bay than any other cruise line. We're also number 1 in the Alaska and Wildlife and Wilderness Tours, over 175 opportunities to interact with nature. There's more time on land with the cruise tours into Denali and on into the Yukon Territory of Alaska. We not only bring you to those areas, we bring Alaska to the ship. You get an up-close experience. Part of that up-close experience is the local sustainable seafood that you will find on all the cruise ships that go to Alaska.
I love some good seafood.
Yeah. Then there's the Big Five, the Big Land Five.
Here's my bears.
Yeah. There's the ever popular, always popular, is the grizzly bear, yes. And there's also the Dall sheep. The Dall sheep were the reason that the national park was created in the first place, to protect
Really?
the Dall sheep. Yep.
To protect them,
Right.
this area was created just for them.
Yeah, there was a lot of market hunting going on at the time. And
Really?
So they were being hunted, the numbers were dwindling, and so they chose to protect the Dall sheep in that area.
That's fantastic.
Yep. The majestic moose, I like to call him. Maybe it's because those antlers kind of look like a crown. And then there's the elusive wolf. He's a little harder to find. I spent the summer in Denali, a lot of time in the park, and I didn't get to see one last summer.
Are you a huge fan of wolves? Is that why you were on the hunt for them?
In part, I do
Yeah?
like wolves. I like all the big five. You know, it's kind of the challenge of checking off the big five.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've kind of got a mystique about them that makes them a little bit special.
Interesting.
Yeah. Then also in the park you will find the caribou. An interesting bit about the caribou is there are actually more caribou in Alaska than there are people.
Really?
There's about 750,000 people in Alaska and upwards of 1 million caribou.
Wow.
And Vanessa, do you happen to know the difference between a caribou and a reindeer?
Yes, Roger, I do. Reindeers fly.
Oh, of course. Oh, well, I guess you knew.
We don't want to forget our Ocean 5 either. Our orcas, our stellar sea lions, our sea otters, gray whales, and humpback whales. And hopefully you'll see those off your ship or on an excursion you choose to go on.
I love otters. I think they are adorable.
They are. They're so cute. And they just float around in the water.
If you happen to be national park enthusiasts, as Vanessa and I are, I mean, obviously getting married in a national park
Right?
was up there for us. There, across the various itineraries that you have with Holland America, you can visit 4 of the national parks. There's Denali National Park, Glacier Bay National Park, Kenai Fjords National Park, and when you're cruising past the Hubbard Glacier, you're on the edge of the Wrangell St. Elias National Park.
So Holland America Line wants you to fall in love with Alaska just as much as Roger and I have fallen in love with Alaska. So they have came up with 2 great ways to experience Alaska, either through cruises or Alaska cruise tours. Now we all know what a cruise is, but what is a cruise tour? And a cruise tour is a cruise plus a journey into the interior of Alaska and beyond. And we're going to break that down for you.
Well, I have to say that it wasn't until I started working in the travel industry and working with some amazing travel professionals, in particular one, Velma, who I know she's watching.
Awesome.
She had to explain to me about a cruise tour because I thought if you just took an Alaska cruise, you did Alaska, like you
Right.
could check that off your list. And she was like, no, you have to get off the ship. You have to go and do a tour. So that was my introduction to what a cruise tour was. So I'm glad that you're going to break it down for us.
All right, so well, imagine this. We have what we call the ultimate Alaska cruises, and we are cruising through the Inside Passage next to those skyscraper mountains, visiting those quirky, quaint seaside towns, the wildlife right off the ship, the unbelievable service, food, entertainment on board. Those cruising to Alaska is magical, but you can take it a step further.
Okay.
Yeah, you can take it to the premier Denali experience. And that Denali cruise tour consists of a 7-day cruise with either 1, 2, or 3 nights in Denali. And the focus of that is to experience the Denali National Park area. Or maybe the next step, head on into the Yukon with the exclusive Yukon plus Denali cruise tour. And Holland America is the only cruise line that will take you on into the Yukon. And those consist of a 3, 4, or 7-day cruise, 2 or 3 nights in Denali, and a few handful of days in the Yukon experiencing the 1898 gold rush. Now, something to note about these cruise tours is that you can do them in either order. We talk about building it on a cruise, but you can do the land portion first, or you can do the cruise portion first.
Fantastic.
So we're going to talk about that first building block, the ultimate Alaska cruises.
Okay.
And Holland America Line has many ways to travel to Alaska on a cruise, and I like to point out a handful here. Our 7-day sailings, we have round trip and one-way sailings. Now, on our round trip, we either leave from Vancouver or Seattle, and we have convenient weekend departures. A one-way sailing, an example could be flying to Anchorage and then cruise on down to the lower 48. You would end in Vancouver.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, if you want to stay on our ships a little bit longer and go to ports that we don't normally go to on our 7-day sailings, you can choose our 14-day sailings. And they all leave out of Vancouver and they're round trip.
And on all of these cruises, you will get a best on board experience, which includes some fantastic entertainment. Few of the ones that we actually enjoy: B.B. King Blues Club, the Rolling Stone Rock Room, Lincoln Center Stage. Yeah, all great ones. BBC Earth is another fantastic one. It's a multimedia experience that is accompanied by Lincoln Center Stage.
Oh, wow.
Or the dining, whether you like the more formal setting of the main dining room, or maybe heading on up to the Lido deck for the buffet type style, or maybe even take it up a notch from there to the Pinnacle Grill, where you can get Pacific Northwest steak and seafood. But the service has always been amazing for us.
Yes.
On one of our last cruises that Vanessa and I went on, we particularly enjoyed the mix bar. We went in there, and just a couple days, they knew exactly what we wanted to drink.
Yep.
A few days later, we went back, and there was an event going on. So we couldn't quite get up to the bar, and they knew what we wanted, but they didn't know how many. So they just held up one or two fingers, and pretty soon those drinks just appeared in our hands magically.
They started flowing.
They started flowing.
I
It
love
was
it.
great.
Well, I have to say, my experience, I have not been on an Alaskan cruise with Holland America, but I have done a voyage with Holland America.
Okay.
And the service was excellent.
Yes.
The food was divine. So to be able to do local seafood, have that experience, I love that. And also I want to add that I had heard that they have the best beds in all of the cruise world. So I'm gonna throw that out there. Maybe you think so, maybe you don't, but I'm just gonna add that in there, you know. Someone in our live studio audience is shaking their head, so so me and the bear are going to go enjoy one of those. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, one of the other features that we do enjoy on the ships is the intimate spaces, and you can get away by yourself or with your significant other. So.
Yeah. Holland America Line, I believe, is for our explorers, those who want to be immersed in the locations that they are visiting, want to have a deeper understanding and a better experience. We at Holland America Line provide that on our ships. We have wildlife experts who will be on our ships, will share information about the wildlife you're trying to see and spot. They also have binoculars for you to utilize and try to find those animals. We have park rangers that'll be on our ships. We have Alaska experts who will have programs that'll talk about World War II, the Alcan, the Iditarod, which is going on right now currently, and so much more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, one of our viewers said something. We always participate in the Fat Bear Challenge. Is that something you guys know about?
Yeah.
And that's usually the Fat Bear Challenge is out of Katmai. So those bears there at Katmai, they feed on the salmon.
Okay.
And they get bigger and bigger and bigger throughout the summer time into the winter. And people like to vote on which bear is getting bigger.
Oh. Well, I guess,
That's an Alaska thing.
every area of the world has their own thing to keep them occupied. Okay.
Yeah.
Who knew?
So back to a few more of those things that we have on the cruise ships. Holland America is the first and only cruise line that holds the Responsible Fisheries Management certification. Another fun thing you might enjoy is the Savor My Catch program, or a real fun one is the Alaska-inspired drinks that include glacial ice cubes. That is actually ice cubes that are harvested from pieces of glacier ice that have.
Really?
Yep.
Now, how many people can say that they've done that? Only the people who have
Only the people that have been there on the Holland
Went there,
America
so-
ships,
yep.
maybe. There's probably a few other places.
All right, so Roger had mentioned we're #1 in Alaska glaciers, and so what does that mean for you all? Well, we have excursions that will get you as close as possible to those glaciers, such as hiking, flight seeing, dog sledding. But what I'd like to talk about today is our sailings to glaciers. We have 3 iconic glacier cruising destinations that we cruise to. Glacier Bay National Park, Hubbard Glacier, and College Fjord is those 3 iconic glaciers. Let me see, slowly getting there. Yeah, right there on the map. They're kind of centrally all located to each other.
Okay.
But Glacier Bay National Park, this is part of a 25 million acre UNESCO World Heritage Site. This is world renowned. Everybody wants to go to Glacier Bay National Park. And Holland America Line has been taking guests to Alaska for such a long time that we have been grandfathered in, have the most permits, and spend the most time in this national park. And we want to make it as special as possible for all of our guests. We bring park rangers on board. They share information about what you're seeing and experience the whole day that you're at this park. And remember, Roger had said that the ships are made for these locations. So we have these big wide open bows that if it's safe to do so, the ship's captain will open up the bow of the ship and you can step right out at the front of the ship and get up close to those glaciers. Let me share with you what it looks like.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now, that's not an everyday thing.
No, it is not.
No.
It's pretty spectacular. We also do, Holland America Line has this tradition on this day when we're in Glacier Bay is we pass out our famous Dutch pea soup.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, are you? Well, if you're not a soup connoisseur, that's all right. We also will make sure you stay warm with hot drinks such as chocolates and coffee and so much more.
That sounds lovely.
There you go.
Yeah, yes.
But we don't want to forget
Options.
about our other locations that we cruise to. We cruise to Hubbard Glacier. This is our longest tidewater glacier in northern America. This stands about 40 stories tall and several miles wide. It's massive, truly to be experienced as well. And then also, we head on over to College Fjord. Now, College Fjord has many glaciers in this location. We have 5 tidewater glaciers here. And a fun fact to note is when this was discovered in this area, all these glaciers that they came across, they started naming them after colleges. So you might come across Harvard Glacier.
I want to know who came up with that. Like, who said, I'm going to name it after colleges?
Well, we'll have to Google that.
Yeah. I feel like there's a way that you can access the world's knowledge very easily.
Might be able to do that. We're going to talk about a few of the ports.
Okay.
Starting with Ketchikan. One of the places that you can visit in Ketchikan is the Tlingit village of Saxman, where they have a totem park. It's a great place to visit. Or maybe you'd head over to the Great Alaskan Lumberjack Show. This is a fun one where you can see the lumberjacks having their competitions and maybe still have some time to visit the town of Ketchikan as well. Or one of the top excursions in this area is the Bering Sea Crab Fisherman's Tour. And this excursion takes place on a boat that was featured in The Deadliest Catch.
Yeah.
Scandalous.
Oh.
Okay.
All right. Juneau. Did you know Juneau is the capital of Alaska?
Oh, they're just going to keep coming, aren't they?
I know it. Dad jokes. I love
Yeah, I
them.
love the dad jokes.
But Juneau, we have so many excursions out of Juneau, and our #1 rated excursion is whale watching.
Okay,
So if you
I can
wanna,
see that.
If you want to whale watch, you want to do this in Juneau. And the reason why is the whales kind of congregate and hang out right outside of Juneau. A feeding place. It's
Okay.
pretty much where the whales are at. And so if whales are important to you, you want to do it here in Juneau. But you could take something and do something totally different. You could hop on a helicopter, take that helicopter to Juneau ice fields, and go dog mushing.
Okay.
So do you want to look at whales or do you want to go play with puppies?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, lots
Puppies.
of decisions.
Puppies will always win. And there's hands down. Look at that.
Yeah, it's adorable, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Then we're going to take a look at Skagway. Skagway is known as the gateway to the Klondike,
Okay.
the Klondike Gold Rush of 1898. And as part of that gold rush, the White Pass and Yukon Route Railway was built. The building of this railroad was a true engineering feat. There's a 20-mile stretch that goes up over 3,000 feet.
Really?
There are 2 tunnels, several trestles, many bridges, some cliff-hanging turns, and spectacular scenery along the entire route.
So we have talked about that first building block, the cruises, and we're going to step off those cruise ships and go into the interior of Alaska. So something to note about also cruise tours with Holland America Line. We own our own transportation and our own facilities. So the rail cars, the motor coaches, the resorts, the hotels, you're always going to see a Holland America Line employee, which makes your vacation seamless. We're also going to take care of your luggage for you. So if you're wondering how you're going to get it from off the ship and into the interior and beyond, all you have to do is put your name on a bag tag, stick that bag tag right on your luggage, set it right outside the door. It gets whisked away while you're enjoying your vacation. When you make it to the next location, your luggage reappears.
And I just want to pause for a moment on that because I think you might think, whatever, not a big deal.
Right.
That's a throwaway item. No, I actually think that's a pretty big deal.
It
It's
is.
not until you are on a holiday, you're, doing all these things. You've seen bears, lumberjacks. I mean, there's a lot going on, right?
Right.
You do not want to have to be worrying about your bags. So I know that seems like a very logistical thing, but the fact that they've gotten that taken care of for you, check that right off the list, right?
Right.
Right.
So I'm glad that you brought that up.
One less thing to worry about.
One less thing.
And then also we get asked quite frequently is, can I get off that ship and get into the interior of Alaska?
Yeah.
Am I able to, accessibility wise? And the answer is yes. Just talk to your travel professionals, have them note it ahead of time. We'll take care of all those details before you even start your vacation. And when you get to Alaska, we'll take care of you there as well.
Well, and I'm glad, let's take a moment while you were talking about our travel professionals. If you're watching this, you know a very cool travel professional that invited you to watch this and said, you need to go to Alaska. So some of the things that we're talking about, if anything you want to know a little bit more about, reach out to your travel professional. And right now, there is a very special limited time offer that only they can give you. So you want to reach out. We'll talk about a little bit about it at the end, but I just wanted to, stay tuned till the end because we've got that. But also some of these details, if you want to dig a little deeper, that's what your travel professional is for. And ask all the questions because they are very connected to Holland America, and they will make sure you have a stellar time. I was trying to do stellar time, midnight sun. I don't know. I couldn't kind of work that out. But you'll have a great time in Alaska.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
sorry.
will.
Cruise tours.
Well, and also something to note on our cruise tours, especially me as being a tour director, year after year, these are for our multi-generational families.
Okay.
We have grandparents bringing grandkids, and grandkids bringing grandparents. They truly are making this a family affair, and they don't want to leave anybody behind. So if you're wondering, can I make this a family vacation? I've had family reunions up there. Yes, on these cruise tours. This is the time and the place to do that, really.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Denali Cruise Tour. The Denali Cruise Tour is that 7-day cruise with 1, 2, or 3 nights in Denali. And the focus of the Denali Cruise Tour is the Denali National Park. There's over 6 million acres that's located in the heart of Alaska. And that is 6 million acres of wilderness.
Wow.
There's only one road in, and that same road back out again. Once you get past the first 15 miles of that road, it's just wide open spaces. There aren't even any hiking trails.
Really?
All the developed hiking trails are in what we call the front country, the first 15 miles of the park. And beyond that, it's all wide open spaces, wilderness, animals, great views. And one of those great views is the opportunity to maybe see Denali, the mountain. Denali National Park is home to Denali, the mountain.
Yeah.
That mountain stands at 20,310 feet above sea level. It is the crown jewel of the North American mountains. The base of it is actually only at 2,000 feet, which means that the total elevation gain is more than even Mount Everest.
Really?
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Yep. And the name Denali actually comes from the Athabascan language, which roughly translates as the Great One.
I can see why.
Yeah. And as Vanessa mentioned, I spent a lot of time out in the park. And every time that I would head out into the park, Vanessa would say, "Be bear safe."
Bear aware.
And I would tease back, "I'm going to take a selfie with a bear."
Yep. He did.
You did.
I did. I took a selfie
What?
with the bear.
Yep.
Yeah, this was a pretty special day. It was the first time that
That's
I
a
had-
grizzly bear, right?
Yeah,
It
it is a
is a
grizzly
grizzly
bear.
bear, yeah.
Yes,
Ooh.
indeed it is. So,
Wow.
yeah, I'd actually been outside the bus before that and watching these bears. There was actually two bears, watching them from a distance.
Yeah.
And once they had cleared out, we got back on the bus. And this one actually came back up and gave us a nice show with a nice walk along the side of the bus.
There's a video.
There is a video for that.
Oh,
And,
let's see a video.
The bus driver does a great job of getting that close. One of their goals is to not disturb the animals any more than they, as little as possible. If they get too used to humans, it's not safe for the humans or for the bears, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. And the way
He didn't seem that bothered.
He was not.
Yeah, he was.
they're pretty well used to the buses going
Mhm.
through the park, but like I mentioned, we don't want them getting used to humans because
No.
that's when things go where you don't want them to go.
Right. Wow, that's phenomenal.
Yeah. And so the way that guests can get out into the park is the Tundra Wilderness Tour. And the Tundra Wilderness Tour is included on all 2 and 3 night stays in Denali. As I mentioned, the first 15 miles are open to personal vehicles, and that's where you'll find the hiking trails and that sort of thing. But beyond that point, it has to be a national park vehicle. And those national park vehicles consist of a modified school bus. One of the modifications that you might enjoy on this 5.5 or 6 hour trip is upgraded seats.
I'm really glad that you said that because I don't remember seats being very nice on the school bus.
On the way to school, yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for
Yes.
the upgrade, Holland America.
It's definitely a little more comfortable ride than it was to school, thankfully. Another thing they have on there are some spotting scopes that are connected to a screen inside the bus. Gives you an opportunity to see some close-ups of the animals that are a little further from the bus, particularly the Dall sheep. They tend to spend their time up on the cliffs. It's harder to get up close to those than it is actually to get close to the bears.
Really? Wow.
Another thing they have is radios. They're talking with each other throughout the day, partly for safety, but partly to maximize your opportunities to see the Big Five that is out there in the park. They want you to see all of those animals, and they do everything they can to make it happen. But it doesn't always happen.
Right.
This is not a zoo. They're wild animals. They go where they want to go.
Yeah.
There's many opportunities along this route to see Denali as well, but as Vanessa mentioned, that's the luck of the 30% club to see Denali. But what you are guaranteed to see is Denali National Park and the wilderness, the vast wilderness of Denali National Park. You can see the Alaska Range on the far side of that picture. And I spent almost 40 years of my life in the Pacific Northwest. And
Okay.
so there's lots of good mountains there too.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got to Alaska, I was just overwhelmed with how massive the mountains are in Alaska. I mean, it's really true. Everything is bigger in Alaska. I mean, I took probably hundreds of pictures while I was there, and every time I'd look down at my picture and I'd look up at what was in front of me, and I go, it just doesn't capture it. You really have to be there to get the effect.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Okay, our McKinley Explorer Glass Dome rail cars. We want to talk about this train ride now. Us tour directors love train day because it doesn't matter whether it's spring, summer, or fall. The views are spectacular. This train ride is phenomenal. You will have your own rail guide who will educate you, entertain you, navigate throughout the whole day of what you're seeing and experiencing. Make sure you have your cameras ready to get those pictures of Denali's out. You'll also have your own barista/bartender who will walk straight up to your seat and ask you, do you want a moose kiss?
And I would say, yes, of course I want a moose kiss.
Do you want to know what a moose kiss is?
I probably would, but if people are offering kisses, you just take them.
Yeah.
What is a moose kiss?
A moose kiss is coffee, a little bit of Kahlua with some whipped cream to start your morning off.
Oh.
All right.
So it makes the whole tour even better.
Right. We're going to keep you hydrated the whole time, right? These glass domed railroad cars are amazing. Let me show you what it looks like inside.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You do not have to stay seated on this train ride. You can get up, move around. These gentlemen, they're looking at each side of the train ride. The seats are comfortable as well. The rail guide will tell you where you can and cannot go. They basically don't want you going through the kitchen unless you want to do dishes.
Oh.
Okay, no.
Yeah, that's not.
You can skip that part.
Unless it's a direct connect to a moose kiss, I'm not there.
We do go over this bridge. This is our Hurricane Gulch Bridge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we slow down to about 5 miles per hour when we go over this bridge. If you are afraid of heights, I promise you probably don't want to look down.
Yeah, just really be intensely talking to the person on the inside.
That's right, yeah. But you want to get those photos, right? So you give them to your significant other, your camera, and tell them to go outside and get a photo.
Oh, yeah.
You want to know how they can do that?
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm feeling
So-
like if they're your magnificent other, like I don't know if you're sending him outside.
Yeah, well, we are on the lower level. We
Okay.
have these wide open platforms. That
Oh, okay.
You can go outside and take photos while the train is moving. We've had guests who stay outside that whole time that they're on that train ride.
Oh, that'd
They
be
enjoy
nice.
it. Also, when we bring our guests to the train, we bring them early in the morning. So you're going to smell the bacon cooking and the cinnamon rolls bacon. You're going to want to have breakfast. And in that lower level of those train cars, we have a dining car that serves breakfast and lunch for purchase.
Fantastic. So you can't go hungry.
You can't go hungry, and you're not going to go thirsty, I promise. All right, once you make your way to Denali, we whisk you away to the McKinley Chalet Resort. This is my favorite resort. It's bordering Denali National Park. At the very tip top is Mount Healy. Mount Healy is in that park, and it's overlooking our resort.
Okay.
We have roughly about a 1.5 to 2 minute video of what you could experience if you come with us to Denali and stay at the McKinley Chalet Resort.
Oh, let's take a look, Evan.
Okay.
Alaska has a rich history. People came here to explore, to strike it rich, and they came from all over the world. That sense of adventure, not knowing really what they were going to find. That's kind of what we have here at the McKinley Chalet Resort in Denali Square. My name is Tracy Smith. I'm the general manager at the McKinley Chalet Resort here in Denali National Park. The McKinley Chalet Resort is located just about a mile from the entrance of Denali National Park. And within the McKinley Chalet Resort, we have this amazing area called Denali Square. The whole thought behind it was Holland America Line wanted to create a gathering place. When you're down here and you look around you, you feel like you're a part of Alaska. You're looking up at Mount Healy, the trees are surrounding you. It's just a different feeling here than anywhere else. My parents moved to Alaska a week after I graduated from high school. And I ended up coming up for an entire summer, and I got a job working on board the train. I didn't know what I was in for when I started that summer job 20 years ago. I just remember that first day of getting on that train and traveling through the Alaska wilderness, interacting with all these people that just were so in love with this place. Making those connections is what drives me. Cruisers on Holland America Line from all over the world come to Denali for that Alaska experience. And I have this opportunity to live here and share it with people. And I love to hear those stories, to know that what we've been working on for months and months is actually working. I love when the music's playing and the fires are going and people people are dancing, I mean, that's vacation to me. And I just think it's different than other places, and it's special.
You had the opportunity to spend the summer at the McKinley Chalet property, and I found out what might be the most dangerous thing about Alaska.
What is that?
You might not want to leave.
Well, I think if you're staying there, that's definitely
Yeah.
going to be a risk.
Yep. Yeah, as you saw in the video, Tracy went there right out of high school, well over
Really?
20 years ago, and she's still in Alaska, enjoying every minute of it. I too had the opportunity to spend lots of time at Denali Square, sitting down by the fire with a drink in my hand, or maybe order up some food from Karsten's right next door, or maybe on over to the other side of the square to enjoy the Music of Denali dinner show. This consists of a meal that starts with Alaskan salmon or smokehouse barbecue, followed by a great dinner show that is filled with humor, history, and music, of course. It's all about the first men that summited Denali. Or maybe you'd like a little bit more of a nature connection, and there's a great nature trail that goes along the Nanana River. And that is the national park that's on the other side of the river. Had the opportunity to see a moose with her calf several times throughout the summer. Didn't quite catch a picture of it, but she was there, got to enjoy that. Or maybe you head back to Denali Square to the Sourdough Studios. And this is a great place to have some fun, or maybe get your wedding announcement photos.
Those were your wedding announcement photos?
They
It went
were.
on Facebook.
I love it.
Sourdough Studios is a lot of fun. Yeah, and you could get your Christmas cards there done.
you don't
yeah.
have
Or,
Get married, yeah.
or
Family
just,
photos.
whatever day,
Right.
very merry on birthday. You can send, whatever. That's fantastic. I love it.
Yep.
Yep.
Very clever of you all.
So Denali Suites, this is your only time that you can upgrade on your cruise tour on the interior of your journey into Alaska or into the Yukon.
Okay.
It's going to be at the McKinley Chalet Resorts. And what you're going to get at the Denali Suites is a little bit more elbow room, upgraded amenities such as slippers, robes, Keurigs. You're also going to have some of the rooms are going to be facing towards the Denali National Park and Preserve. Some of those rooms also have heated bathroom floors.
Okay.
Yeah, and so a lot of our guests like to do these upgrades here for something special for in Denali, like a birthday or anniversary or honeymoon. But something to know also, if you want to upgrade for the Denali Suites at the McKinley Chalet Resort, you want to do that ahead of time before you start your vacation. You can't start your vacation and think, I'm going to upgrade when I get there. It doesn't work that way. So
Okay.
definitely make sure you talk to your travel professional and get that noted make sure it's upgraded ahead of time.
And you know what? I'm just gonna say this. I have not traveled as much as I would like to. Me and this bear are really getting friendly, so I'm committed to him now. But I'm just saying, it might be that extra upgrade, and you're like, it's gonna be it's a bucket list trip. I'm gonna spend a lot doing this. I'm gonna do this, but that upgrade, if I can't do it, inevitably I will get on the trip and I'll be like, you know what? I think I want to upgrade that,
Right.
and then you're telling me I can't do it. Just go ahead and do it. You will never regret that. I mean, that it's just inevitably that's the way it goes. So that's my advice, just because I have been on plenty of trips, and then I see the person who was smart enough to do the upgrade ahead of time, and I'm like, I don't like you. No, I'm just kidding. I like you because you're very organized.
And something to note is you do not have to have a suite on the ship to upgrade. You can do this whenever.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. So then, just as they have in the ports, the land destinations also include extra excursions. One of the ones that we enjoyed was the ATV UTV, which you can see us standing there. It was a great time exploring the wilderness around the park, and it was an exhilarating time. We had a good time with it.
Yeah. My favorite is our flight scene excursions, and those are our top-rated excursions in Denali. You could take a plane to go to the Arctic Circle and get a certificate saying that you've been above the Arctic Circle.
Very cool.
You could take a plane and circle Denali, and if the mountain climbers are climbing the mountains, you might be able to spot them from their plane. But my favorite, still to this day, and it was very exhilarating, is my helicopter run landing on a glacier. This was done back in 2019. I actually laid on that ice and drank the water.
You mean you got a glacial facial?
I did, yes. Thanks, Roger.
We might need to discuss this later.
He's
'cause
wondering about that. I
I-
can see it.
Choices. But that is something that not many people have done, I'm sure.
Yeah, nope.
Okay.
If you'd like something a little more relaxed, there are covered wagon rides that go to the same wilderness area around the park that we enjoyed on the ATV UTV.
Yep.
And both of those include a great meal.
And so Roger had mentioned on our Denali cruise tours, you can stay in Denali either 1, 2, or 3 nights. And we get asked time and again, should I spend the most time? And we always suggest Denali. So if you can stay 3 nights, that's best. Because the first night you're getting there in the afternoon, evening, you're just enjoying the McKinley Chalet Resort, the Denali Square. The second day is all about that park, going on your Tundra Wilderness Tour. We have free shuttles that'll take you back into the park. You can go hike and go to the visitor center. And then that third night, if you have that third night, you can relax, sleep in a little bit, but be able to do some of those excursions. And we haven't talked about all the excursions. There's so many when it comes to Denali, like fly fishing, river rafting, zip lining, and so much more.
But not everything has to be like as active. Like I can slow my roll at some point,
you can
right?
slow down, yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Good.
having that third night just allows you to do that just even a
Right.
little bit more.
Right.
Yep.
And what I love about these guys is they know what they're talking about. So I mean, again, if you are planning an Alaskan voyage and you're going to do the cruise tour, these guys know and love Alaska, so they're giving you real advice.
Yes.
How many times have you said, "Oh, I wish someone could give me advice on, what to do in Alaska"? Well, that's what Vanessa and Roger are here to do. So, Anyway, love it. I hope you're enjoying it, and keep the chat alive. If you've got any questions for them, we've got just a little bit of time left. So if you've got any questions, get them in the chat right now.
Yes.
Yep. And if you want to step beyond Alaska and go on into the Yukon territory, the Yukon plus Denali Cruise Tour. And this is all group tours, which means that you get a tour director, maybe even Vanessa, if you're lucky. And it's all about the history of the 1898 Klondike Gold Rush.
Gold, gold, gold. They said you could just bend down, pick it up, and put it in your pocket. Did that get your attention?
That does.
All right. When gold was found in this little town called Dawson City, when people learned that gold was found there, over 100,000 stampeders rushed to this little town, but only 30,000 made it. And the reason why 30,000 only made it is they had a journey, an adventure to go on. They either chose the Chilkoot Pass, which is a mountain that they had to climb,
Okay.
or they had to go through the White Pass Trail, which was treacherous and either one was hard to navigate. Once you get
Wow.
past those locations, you came across Bennett Lake, where you had to learn to build a boat and then navigate the Yukon River. And Canada just wouldn't let anybody in without provisions, so they also had to bring a ton of goods. That's 2,000 pounds of goods to head on to Dawson City. Yep. It's an unbelievable feat, but people did it. They made it. They got there. 30,000 made it to Dawson City, and only 1,000 truly could say that they claimed gold, struck it rich and claimed gold in
Wow.
Dawson City. Now, a fun fact about Dawson City is gold is the #1 industry to this day
Really?
in Dawson City. And it just recently became part of a UNESCO World Heritage Site as well.
Wow.
Yep.
Very cool. That's interesting. The fact that gold is still a part of its lifeblood.
Yeah.
Wow. See? Learning stuff every day.
And when you do head on into the Yukon, the travel between Fairbanks and Dawson City used to be a 2-hour motor coach. And many of the guests said they wanted to spend more time in Dawson City. And so Holland America listened and turned that 2-day motor coach into a 1-hour chartered flight.
Sounds good to me. 1 hour versus 2 days. Once you get to Dawson City, you'll be staying at this colorful building here. This is our Westmark Inn. When make it to Dawson City, you truly are going back in time. It's a living museum. You're still going to come across buildings that are over 125 years old, back from the Gold Rush era. Let me share with you a picture of what one of those buildings look like. These buildings here, they're leaning towards each other, and we call them the kissing building.
Aww.
But there is so much to explore in Dawson City when it comes to the gold, and just it's rich with history. But once you're done exploring Dawson City throughout the day, if you're wondering what to do in the evening, a lot of our guests head on over to Diamond Tooth Gertie's. Diamond Tooth Gertie's is our oldest gambling establishment in the Yukon, and this is where you can see a can-can show.
Really?
Yes. They have 3 shows each evening at 8, 10:30, and midnight. And each show is totally different and gets a little more entertaining as the night goes on.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does.
It's a fun time.
Then part of the transportation on some itineraries, between Dawson City and Skagway, is that same White Pass and Yukon Route Railway that we talked about. And we're going to share a video with you that's narrated by the longtime conductor.
Yeah.
Skagway was basically settled during the Klondike Gold Rush of 1898. When they struck the gold here and everyone heard these headlines of gold, 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 tens of thousands of people rushed to come to the gold rush. This was their lottery, their Powerball of their time. And they realized that a railroad would be needed to carry these people up there and to carry the gold back. And we've been operating ever since 1898 when the railroad was built. My name is Mike Sika. I'm a conductor for the White Pass Railroad in Skagway, Alaska. And I'm responsible for the movement of the train, the coordination of my coworkers. It's a great challenge.
It's good to see you guys again.
I'm really fortunate to get to work the summit trains. People get to ride with us for 3 to 3.5 hours. And they're going to be thinking that this train took them for a magic, scenic railway of the world ride. It's going to be something they can't see anywhere else. I think one of the most incredible things about this job is the connection we make with other people.
How many we got? Thanks for coming with us. Are you having a good cruise?
When guests come off the Holland America Line ships and they get onto this train, and they're going to be hearing the rocking and the rolling of the train, the whistles, the history. It is a universal experience. And it's that connection that makes them feel they're not only observing the experience, but they're part of it.
Oh, that train ride is phenomenal. If trains are important to you and you're going on a Yukon cruise tour, you definitely want to talk to your travel professionals and make sure that they are on the itineraries, because not all Yukon cruise tour itineraries has that train ride on there.
Okay.
So something to know.
The details matter.
Details do matter. So I'm going to also share, this is Skagway. This is our colorful building. It's Westmark Inn for Holland America Line's hotel. And you can stay in Skagway either 1 or 2 nights, and those are depending on also different itineraries as well. So if you're all about the gold rush and you want to learn more, you want to hang out in Skagway, it really is rich with history. It's a Klondike Historical National Park as well. You definitely want to spend time here, get those 1 or 2 nights on your cruise tours. Okay?
Fantastic.
Now also Roger had mentioned that these are group tours, right? And you get a tour director. And the reason why you get a tour director is you're going over 1,400 miles, crossing borders a couple of times, maybe a couple of train rides, hotels, resorts. There's a lot of details. And we're there to eliminate all that stress and worry, to to help you have fun. My group here in 2019, they still travel together to this day. They've been lifelong friends from the time that they went up to Alaska. It's still fun to see that they get back together.
And what's great too is especially multi-generational travel,
Yep.
when you've got a family, that inevitably in some situations somebody bears the burden of keeping the family organized and together. It is very nice to have a guide to
Yep.
who knows their way around
Right.
and can take some of the responsibility.
Yeah. We have a lot of fun. We truly do.
And don't worry, you won't have to haul your luggage over Chilkoot Pass.
Yeah.
Oh
We
my
got that
goodness.
covered.
We're going to take care of you.
See, that's all the other cruise lines. That's how they do it. No, that's fake news. Sorry.
So anyway, as we finish up here, hopefully we have shared enough videos and enough words and enough pictures so that you picked up just a little bit of the magic of Alaska, so that you can understand why
We love Alaska.
Well, I can definitely tell that you love Alaska, and I think our entire audience at home has fallen in love with Alaska, and I can even see our in-studio audience here, some who have been to Alaska and some who haven't. I can feel the passion in your words, and thank you for sharing not only what curated images, but your personal images and the personal stories that you have. You really have brought to life Alaska for me, and I'm sure for many of our audience members at home. Now, as I said throughout the show, if you are watching this, you were invited by somebody in the travel industry that said, I know somebody who wants to go to Alaska or needs to go to Alaska. And a part of this special event is a very limited time offer promotion for the OnStage Alaska with Holland America and World Via. And I'm going to hand it over to Roger just to kind of talk through some of the bullet points real quick. But of course, your travel professional will have all the details.
Yes, they will.
the
So, producer Evan, can you put that on the screen?
Yeah. The OnStage Alaska promotion consists of a couple things. The first one is some onboard
Uh-oh.
credit
We
that
lost
you
it.
can get. We
Uh-oh.
lost, where are we?
Oh, there,
There
we
it
go.
is.
There we
Sorry.
go. We found it. All right. Now you all out there can see what I'm talking about too. You can get a combined on-credit Denali dollars, Dawson dollars, and up to $350 per stateroom. Those are funds that you can spend in those locations on things like gift shops, excursions, all those kinds of things. The one that really gets my attention, though, is the $25 deposit per person. That means you get with your travel professional and you find that perfect itinerary, and you can get locked in for just $25 per person.
Perfect.
And that is for new bookings only, and it is a limited time offer that's associated with this event.
Perfect. Yes, and this limited time offer only goes until March 27th. So you want to talk to your travel professional right away. And then Have It All. Tell us about Have It All.
So Have It All is our amenities all combined up to about 50% off. So normally when you get on the ship, you might want to add these as you get there, and you're like, oh, I might want some Wi-Fi, or I might do the drink package.
Might want to.
Yeah. So if you combine all these, you're going to save money. And depending on the cruise and cruise tour, you're going to get some sort of shore excursion credit. Your drink packages is 15 drinks a day. It's alcoholic and non-alcoholic. So that's your specialty
Keep you
coffees,
hydrated.
yep, your bottled waters, and then all those alcoholic drinks. And then specialty dining, depending on what ship you're on, you have different specialty dining packages, and then of course Wi-Fi is included as well.
So right now what I'm seeing in the chat is people saying, wow, so what a great deal. So again, and producer Evan, if you can put me and my friend the bear here, me and the bear want to thank you guys for tuning in to Holland America's OnStage Alaska here with World Via. We want to thank Roger and Vanessa for joining us, and again, thank you for sharing your passion for Alaska. And you are welcome back anytime. We can't wait to get more updates from you guys as you continue your life journey and exploration of the beautiful part of the country that you love so much. So until next time, take care of yourself, and thank you for watching. We'll see you real soon. Bye.